What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video here on the Fortitude Investing channel. Thank you guys for stopping by and thank you for your time. Just wanted to get into another video here. I don't have anything to exactly show of maybe the good or the bad necessarily. So that's why I just have this chart up here. Um, But as you can see, I mean, everything's kind of came down just a little bit. I know that a lot of what this has to do with is obviously the shutdown, um, but also the China tariffs that's going on right now with Trump and China. Um, the markets are a little bit uncertain of what it kind of wants to do, and I think a lot of people were in hopes of having a what they would call Uptober. They thought that the prices would continue to keep going up in October, and it just didn't. I think everything's kind of come down quite a bit since the beginning of October, uh, especially Bitcoin hitting all-time highs in the beginning of October and then coming back down. XRP was well above $3 in October and now has come back down to 250, give or take. Uh, I just look at this as like there is a lot of fear. There's a lot of people who are tired, worn out, exhausted, frustrated, and upset with what they thought was going to be a good month. I get it. I think it's frustrating too sometimes. Um, but I will say this is you can look at it this way of, you thought you were going to make a lot of money and it didn't happen. I mean, yeah, we had dips quite a bit, very, very big dips, and you can be frustrated about that. But at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the crypto market itself. It's more macroeconomic headwinds. So, again, like I said, the government being shut down definitely doesn't help. We had targets for ETFs and ETF launches for XRP, for Solana, for Cardano, so on and so forth, right? There's a ton, and I know a few of them have come out now. Um, but XRP being the main attraction with the most ETFs waiting for approval. Um, the government shut down. Obviously, they can't do anything in the SEC, so um, they can't approve those. And the only reason why the Solana and the H bar and I think it was Litecoin, which I'm shocked that they even have Litecoin ETFs, but to each their own. Um, they ended up launching just because of the adjustment and the way they filed them. So they didn't need approval. It was just when they had adjusted the filing, it was just a 20 days, and then the 20-day countdown had ended and those had launched. So more than anything, it doesn't have anything to do with the SEC while the government is shut down. So with that, um, we had a lot of targets where we thought XRP was going to get some big ETFs, um, and those just haven't happened yet. This has nothing to do with XRP. This has nothing to do with anything in the crypto market itself. This is the government. And unfortunately, the crypto market has really, really been taken a big hit from that. And I think there was a lot of expectation and speculation because that's what we're in, a speculative market, that the ETFs were going to go live. And I think that's why XRP's price was propped up to around $3 was, yes, over the summer, you saw the Genius Act and the Clarity Act going through and prices continued to keep going up. And they stayed up for a while. They cooled off, but they'd stayed around that $3 range, right? Bitcoin around the 115 to 120, ETH around the 4,000 to 4,500 range. Um, but with these headwinds, speculation kind of dies off, and you're starting to see a lot of people who are frustrated with that because I mean, I don't know. I mean, this isn't that bad. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I know the liquidation event was kind of crazy, but at the end of the day, be grateful that you get prices like this again. Be grateful that we can continue to keep stacking, accumulating, buying, because we're only a couple good news stories away from being right back to where we were. The government opens back up, these ETFs go live, right? I mean, we're only a week or two away from the Clarity Act actually, um, starting to get debated on the floor of the Senate, which is super, super exciting stuff. And I think that's the catalyst that this market needs is the Clarity Act. And I just want to restate this for everybody who continues online to say that it seems like stable coins are going to take over crypto, and there's really no need for these altcoins to offer products. Other than being a stable coin or a store of value. And this is what I'll say to that is Bitcoin gets a lot of its value from speculation, but also it also is a store of value. So what a store of value is meaning is that typically with inflation rates that are a little bit higher than what they should be, people run the stuff that is going to continue to keep going up or beat the inflation numbers. So if per se in 1 year, Bitcoin or sorry, the inflation rate of the U.S. dollar inflates 5%, which it shouldn't, but let's just for this scenario, let's say it's 5%. So we're losing 5% of our buying power. With that, um, there will be plenty of people who, investors, whales, people who have a lot of money who are like, that's a lot, that's a big number for inflation. We want to find assets, hard assets, that are going to appreciate more than the inflation. So you see, gold is a great hedge for inflation, and so is Bitcoin. So they want to continue to maintain or do better than inflation rates. So you want to beat at least that 5% hurdle rate. Plus, I mean, everybody wants to make money. So that's the one big case of Bitcoin, but also with the banks and other um, credit loan, like, credit companies, loan companies, banks, whatever, are now accepting Bitcoin as collateral, which is huge. So that would be like saying, I'm going to loan you, bank, my Bitcoin, and I want cash, right? So then I can go out and I can buy the things that I want. Obviously, we're not going to go out and buy cars, houses necessarily. At least I personally wouldn't with that. But it's a great tool to build your business. It's a great tool to build passive income. Maybe you could use that to go out and buy some sort of cash generating asset. So basically, there's a couple different use cases, and I guess I just don't see this a lot because maybe people don't understand um, what that means. But Bitcoin allows for that to happen. So in a sense, if I say, hey, bank, I would like to give you some of my Bitcoin, and then they can give me what is called a LTV, which is loan to value rate. So it may be with Bitcoin being a newer asset on the balance sheet, that number may be a little bit smaller because it's just more volatile. It's a newer asset. So instead of being 80 or 90%, it may be more like 40 or 50%. So that would mean if I give $10,000 in Bitcoin and the bank holds on to that, I could get about $5,000 of credit. And the nice thing is I can use that money and it's not taxed. So I don't have to pay taxes. But if I needed 10 grand and I needed it tomorrow, I could do that, or I'd have to sell my Bitcoin. I'd have to take capital gains taxes. It would go on at the end of the year taxes, like that kind of stuff. And that's if it's long term, it's 22%. If it's short term, I believe it's over 35%. I want to say it's like 38. So you can only understand that 22% of that Bitcoin that you would sell, you have to pay $2,200 just in taxes. So really, you're only going to get about $8,800. Or sorry, is that right? or sorry, $7,800. Jeez, can't do math today. But you get the point. So you only get like $6,000, give or take, when it's all said and done of that money if it's short-term capital gain. So I just want you guys to know that that's what's so important about this is it's allowing us to borrow from our assets and get tax-free money. So at the end of the day, I understand that people are like, oh, there's not a lot of use cases for Bitcoin. And yes, there may not be the all almighty what you might think it is of like, oh, XRP's the cross-border payments, Ethereum has the stable coins, so on and so forth. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. But what Bitcoin is now allowing for, I see JP Morgan and I see, quite a few other banks now that are like, we want Bitcoin on the balance sheet, we want the Bitcoin, and we want to give you credit for it. So that's where Bitcoin's really going to gain its value. So instead of having to leverage, say, real estate or gold, whatever the case may be, whatever you can leverage with, you can use Bitcoin, which is awesome. So I kind of just wanted to get that out there, kind of clear that up, but also with the stablecoin deal. The reason why stablecoins have been getting so much attention lately in the press is because the Genius Act just got passed. And it is now legal to be able to transact, to use, and have clarity over stablecoins for banks, for companies, public companies, to be able to hold, use, buy, sell, trade. And the reason why it's so important is stablecoins are great in the market of keeping money inside of the crypto. So if I sell, say I sell some Bitcoin, it goes back into USDT, into USD Tether, for example, and it doesn't go back into dollars. So then it saves time, it saves money, transaction fees, like it's ridiculous. So it's keeping all of that together and also it's allowing for transactions like that. Now the difference between the stable coins and with XRP, a little bit different here. So with stable coins, it's only transacted in specific, dollars or pesos, whatever. It doesn't transact cross border. So cross border, yes, is it across the world? Yes. But what it means is large sums of money that is in different currencies. So obviously each currency does not equal the same. So like the dollar may equal, X amount of pesos or whatever. Okay. So what that is XRP is that middleman and it is allowing for that transaction, but also having liquidity available for both sides. Stablecoins cannot do that. Stablecoins can only transact in what it's like set in. So that difference is extremely important just to know that smaller transactions can be done in stablecoins. This is for large transactions. A bank doesn't send 20 bucks back and forth to each bank across border. It's by sending millions and billions of dollars from banks to banks all around the world. And that's why XRP is so important is it allows for big transactions cross border, cross transaction or cross currency and being the middle liquidity asset. So it has liquidity ready, and also it has, it's like basically if I were to um, get paid by my job and they pay me and it goes into my bank account. That's just credit, just digits on the screen. The actual transaction takes a few days, and the actual transaction for cross border can take a couple weeks. What this is offering is instant, actual hard liquidity. So that's why the actual process of like doing wire transfers can take a few days because you're actually transacting real money. That's why it takes so long. That's what XRP has to offer. I just want to clear that up with Bitcoin and XRP because I feel like, um, not that there's a lot of FUD, but I think it's just a little bit of confusion. And I get it. It can be a little bit complicated. But more than anything, just do your own research. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am working on a new project. Hopefully, can get that launched here within the next couple weeks on Discord. I want to start a program for everybody who is watching, subscribing, that it will cost a little bit of money, um, but in the long run, I believe it's worth it. I'll reveal more later on, but that's what a lot of my time is being spent on right now, and not as much videos. So I'm working on both. So just want to say thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Know what you want and believe that you can and will get it.
Your time is limited.
Always keep going.
You kill me! Keep going! You keep going!
A Thessalonian you're fighting. He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's why no one will remember your name.